co-authored a book on how to negotiate with the banks and win. That was a huge benefit for the families who had no idea how to negotiate with the banks. For investors, I think it's a good time for them to jump back in. We came up with the idea of doing hardship letter, how you have to explain it to the bank, how you need to talk to the underwriter. Eduardo was upside down. That was a big thing. People had a mortgage for 300,000 and the homes were selling for 100,000. Some creative financing. There is another option called subject to the same mortgage. Talking to friends is not going to help much because nobody was in that position. Trying to talk to professionals is what matters. We talked about
because so many people were applying for loan modifications, but they wouldn't get approved.
Recession and fears of foreclosure. So how is a bloodbath? That is the worst bloodbath we've seen. I've never experienced anything like that. Populations that are in the fringes like Goodyear, maybe Maricopa, maybe Casa Grande, some of these pockets wherein they got overbuilt in the last few months, they are going to go down. Then we did short sales and loan modification.
So you guys have been friends for how long?
Wow.
Long time.
Long time.
Maybe 20 years. I would say 20 years.
Holy smokes, man. Are you serious?
We've been friends, but we haven't talked in 10 years. Or maybe something like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm raising 4 kids. I got 3 now and going into college. So
Is that right?
now it's
You got a lot of history with Kiran, so I might be able to get some good stories of Kiran back in the day. Oh, man. He is a genius. That's not changed. It's probably more like similar. Fine wine gets better as
he DJ.
Yes. How do I not know that, man? How did I just figure this out?
Eduardo is going to spill all the beans. Eduardo, start by introducing yourself. How do people know you?
Well, my name's Eduardo Delgado, and I've been here locally in Arizona for the past 22 years. I'm married to Paulina Maria Carmela Del Franco Delgado, and we have 4 children, Armando, Alessandro, Antonio, and Annabella. And I've been in the financial services fields since I was 19 years old. I started with Metropolitan Life. You know the company called
MetLife back in the day.
I did employee benefits for them, and then went on to work for the senior market with Lincoln National Life. Then went into, again, employee benefit, reverted back to employee benefits. Finally went to become a broker in San Diego, California. And when we moved out here, my brother-in-law, Vincent, who you know very well, we were in a multi-level financial services company. My wife and I recruited him into the business, and he blew up. He became a CEO in the company and 7-figure earner. We did very well. As a marketing director, and I was a branch manager for the security side. So just been in the whole financial services business, and currently I'm in creative finance, and it's all real estate related.
So you did a shortcut, but after that, you walked away from that. Then we did short sales and loan modification.
Back in 2007,
8, wherein we had the boom of bank-owned properties, short sales, and all that. We raised money and we've
That's right.
flipped properties. Then we did a lot of short sales and foreclosures. That's where I learned the real estate business, the real estate business.
real estate.
We've done a book together on
loan modification, loan mod exposed.
Again, I am, for the second time, the only person in the room that has not written a book. I got to fix that.
But books are getting obsolete, so you don't have to worry about it very soon.
Breaking my heart. I love books.
So we've done the book, we've done a software.
We did a software to actually help people get loan mods approved, because so many people were applying for loan modifications, but they wouldn't get approved and they wouldn't get foreclosed.
So loan modification, for audience who doesn't know it, basically when you have a mortgage with your lender, you go back to the lender and prove that you have a financial hardship and have them either reduce the principal, adjust the interest. That was big in 2008, 2009 timeframe. So me and Eduardo, we co-authored a book on how to negotiate with the banks and win. That was a huge benefit for the families who had no idea how to negotiate with the bank. We came up with the idea of doing hardship letter, how you have to explain it to the bank, how you need to talk to the underwriter.
Right.
Eduardo was a master genius with being on the phone. So we trained a lot of people. We had an office on Indian School and I-17. And
We had people handing us keys saying,
I don't need the house.
Away, we're walking away. The house is too upside down.
Oh, yes.
I'm moving to Canada. I remember that.
Big time. I think we need to speak about those experiences zoomed in this episode, and then we'll come back to the other career choice thing that we were talking about. But then after that, you moved to industrial sales, and
That's
then
manufacturing.
manufacturing sales, then into real estate. Like you are like a multifaceted guy.
Fine. I love people. I love sales. I love numbers and all those. So I've always stayed in that career path.
Yes.
But the key is, how do we get the word out?
Yes. So let's talk about the recession time. I mean, you and me ran into each other. I went to a foreclosure seminar. It was a big conference. And then I ran into Eduardo. That's how I ran into him. Me and my wife, we were young. We didn't have kids that time. Our hobby was to attend real estate conferences. So I ran into Eduardo and we just talked and we hit it off. After that, we met and then he ended up learning even more. He went deeper into it. Then we got together
Right.
to do foreclosures and short sales. And for that, in those days, Shane, homes were upside down. That was a big thing. People had a mortgage for 300,000 and the homes were selling for 100,000. People came to our office, they gave the keys and they left. They say, you deal with the bank. I don't know what to do. And they just left. Lot of Hispanic families. I mean, Eduardo is fluent. And then we had another guy, Ezekiel. Yeah, he was a master genius, very kind-hearted guy.
He's still in the business.
Oh, he is? So he used to talk to families and help them understand, hey, you just cannot walk away. You need to negotiate with the bank. We do a short sale. We arrange for a short sale of the home and make sure that the bank will write off their loan and not pursue them for any damages, so that these families can come back to the path of homeownership. So that was like the full cycle of that. So we want to talk about some of the emotions what families went through during that time, during recession, because now we are seeing fears of recession and fears of foreclosure. So how is a bloodbath? That is the worst bloodbath we've seen. I've never experienced anything like that.
So back in those days, I mean, it was we got to the point where we had 8 people negotiating short sales at all the time. We had 8 employees. Remember that?
Right.
And then we were out just talking to people. We would try to save their house first of all, and and create a loan modification. That was the first goal. If we couldn't get that done, because some of these banks were just, I mean, it didn't matter. They were just closing their doors and they were just letting everything go. So the short sale was the more successful piece of the pie, but we were, people wanted, they couldn't afford the payment. They couldn't keep the house. They couldn't sell the house because they were upside down.
Right.
So now all of a sudden what can I do? So we would reach out to them through what we called, boots on the ground, people that were just in the neighborhoods and talking to people about trying to get a loan modification, right? And
there were communities after communities wherein friends moved together, right? One family moves in and they tell their friends, and the other people also say, oh, I want to buy a home in that area.
Yeah.
They all bought it together and they all went under together. Everybody bought homes for 300,000 and they all went to 100,000. And it was
Maricopa, Phoenix, almost a Phoenix, everything, Peoria up. Remember that?
Yes, it was crazy time. But the biggest advantage that I have seen is when we arrange these seminars with attorney, a CPA, ourselves, and we just address people. That's how I built my real estate business.
I remember I went to one of your seminars.
Attorney Eckley, yes. So people knowing the information is the first step, right? When you're upside down, some people just closed their eyes and left the house. But that's not going to help because the banks started pursuing them for damages and all that. Because if they did a cash out, it's a non-recourse loan, they could still get sued and they could even get a judgment.
You owe 300 and we're buying it for 100 or selling it for 100 to this investor. Those 200,000 you still owe taxes on. So they'd come after for taxes when they didn't even make any money. It was rough. And the sad thing is that we're teetering on that right now. You know that foreclosures are up to 200 a day in Phoenix?
Yeah, there was a time wherein we were not even seeing foreclosures, but it is coming back. The problem is a lot of people have equity that's going down, and especially people who purchased in the last 12 months, 12 to 24 months. So their equity is kind of shrinking with being a down market. But we are not really at a place wherein we can see a lot of foreclosures. For investors, I think it's a good time for them to jump back in and see what is being foreclosed, like which areas. Usually neighborhoods go into foreclosure around the same time. Populations that are in the fringes like Goodyear, maybe Maricopa, maybe Casa Grande, some of these pockets wherein they got overbuilt in the last few months, they are going to go down quite a bit. So investors have to watch out for the foreclosure data and see where they are being foreclosed, and there could be opportunities.
Now, if any of your viewers are actual homeowners, Kiran, there's hope, because even if you have a property that may be going underwater, you still may be able to get out of it unscathed, without a problem. You have to be open-minded, and you have to look at what is called creative finance. Because if, for example, let's say you owe $400,000 on your house, but right now you have it on the market with a realtor, nobody's buying it because your house is worth $350,000. What can you do? Well, if you're open to creative finance, there may be a way, depends on your situation, but there may be a way where you can actually have someone like myself take over the house and even give you money cash, and you walk away and and your credit gets repaired because they pay all your arrears, and then they make your future payments on time. If you walk away with some cash, and most importantly is that you fulfill your obligation, which I think most of us want to fulfill that obligation. And that's where it's an interesting time, but you've got to be open-minded. So if you're a homeowner, there is hope.
Yeah. So just like how we are drawing from our experience from 2008, a lot of homeowners, they went under, and then we were able to help them by doing different things, trying to do loan modification, trying to do a short sale, or we did some creative financing. There is another option called subject to the same mortgage. Some of them are pretty creative, and not everybody might be open for the idea.
They don't understand.
A lot of times they don't understand. So somebody like me and Eduardo, we can at least give you the pros and cons of every opportunity that you have. If you're under, first thing is don't panic. Try to negotiate with your lender first, and then talking to friends is not going to help much because nobody was in that position. Trying to talk to professionals is what matters. We talked about this, Shane.
Yeah.
That you need to approach professionals on this. But you're an outsider of the real estate industry. Like, what do you think of all this foreclosure, short sales? Does it feel overwhelming for somebody, you think?
Well, it feels different because in 2008, banks were taking on mortgages that were all bundled up together, right? They were lending to people that they shouldn't have. The situation we're going in now is a little bit different. You've got interest rates which are rising. So like treasuries are getting lower in value. So you got a lot of these banks that are, for example, Silicon Valley Bank and these other ones that were tied up in assets that depreciated because interest rates rose, right? So it's a little different situation where the money's going and where it's happening. I think if we see a few more banks get pressure on them, it might create kind of a different effect in the market. But I don't see this necessarily being the same thing as the 2008. That was crazy. You know, I came into real estate in 2012, kind of at the end of that, with Jesse Herfel, his whole team. Like, you didn't need buyers agents, you didn't need sellers agents. You just transaction crazy. You needed people who were negotiating with the banks, right? Just doing short sales. That's the whole thing. And actually, when I got into real estate, it was when the market started to get better, and they were now looking to build teams of buyer agents and sellers agents, and they needed people to be able to do that. And so it's interesting, but I think you definitely need to talk to professionals, and having individuals like yourselves, the two of you, who not only are in this current process right now, it's the way the market is, but who went through the 08, 09, 010, you've got that perspective that someone who maybe is fresh to the market won't have. And so you can have those creative financing options available to somebody, and you're like, hey, look, this is something that we did. We got experience with it. We worked with it. We've been through something far worse than what we're experiencing right now. But the point, like you said, is there's hope, right? Yeah, there's options for one.
So there is a lot of things happen when your mortgage goes down, like in the sense that the home values go down and you're upside down. This is what you have to, at a nutshell, you have to worry about three things, right? First is you have to worry about the legal implications of it. What if you walk away? What's going to happen? What if I skip my payment? What's going to happen? Then you have to worry about the tax implications of it. Then lastly, you have to worry about the implications, that emotional implications, wherein would my friends look at it? Like, even though you close your eyes and ears, still your friends are going to know that your property went into foreclosure or something like that, especially if you're in the area. So you have to worry about all of those. So have your emotions on the side and talk to professionals. Talking to an attorney and a CPA to know about their implications is good. Talking to somebody like us who've been there is going to help us a lot. We are hoping we are not going to go into that path of foreclosures. It will not be a bloodbath, but we have to be prepared for it. And the investors who are watching it, there is an opportunity for you to clean up neighborhoods. When I say clean up neighborhoods, we've seen bad areas, I mean good areas, which became bad because everybody walked away. It's deserted, really uninhabitable communities that investors came in, they bought, and then they made it better. And now when you go through some of those communities, I can't even remember that this was such a blighted area. So there is a lot of good things from investors. People, as soon as you hear investors, you might think that, oh, those are the people who are going to just exploit everybody. But no, investors are also very much part of the economy. They are the people who eliminate the blights that we have in the neighborhood, that they make it better and sell it.
And I think also a way to look at it is they solve problems, right? So I put my house on the market and I can't sell it.
What to do? Yeah.
So an investor comes in and solves that problem. He finds a way to do it. And you know what I was thinking is commercial properties. You know, we look at only residential properties, but at the commercial level, everything is sold on a creative finance, seller finance or partial. You know, there's a combination. It's all creative, and yet so the big dollar items are sold that way. But yet when we sell a house, all we think about is on
the real tradition.
right? Be more open and you'll find a solution.
Yes, so we are going to wrap up this particular episode. We are going to come back and we are going to talk about how Eduardo and Shane and myself even, we switched from one profession to another profession seamlessly, and we seem to make it work. So let's talk about that. That way people are not going to feel stuck in what they're doing. All right.
Excellent, man.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.